Hub Research Project Writing Lessons. Welcome to all of you out there all over the world. Welcome to Hub Research Project Writing Lessons or live chat. So you are very welcome. In today's chat, we'll be talking about a very interesting concept or topic in research project writing. And what would we be discussing? We will be discussing the delimitation of your study. Okay, now if you're writing a research project or would want to write a research project, then it means you are in the right place and this is the right time. So it would interest you to know about so many things we will be discussing briefly on this live chat. Okay, so I want to say a very big welcome to all of you across the world watching us right now, or all of you across the world that will be watching us after now. Okay, whether you're joining the video live or you'll be watching after now, I'm saying a very big welcome to Hub Research Project Writing live chat. Now, so let's begin with the very first thing I want to say. For this particular topic, it is very important we start as usual with knowing where you should incorporate into your work the delimitation of the study. So the delimitation of the study should be found in your introductory chapter, your chapter 1. So it is in your chapter 1 that you should incorporate the delimitation of your study. So answering the question, where should I find the delimitation of my study? It should be found in your introductory chapter, your chapter 1. And that answers that question. Now, the second thing I want us to talk about is the difference between delimitation and limitation. Students across the world, some students, not all anyway, usually confuse delimitation to be the same thing as limitation. And I'm telling you in this live chat that limitation and delimitation are two different things. Now, I'm going to be making a video subsequently about limitation of the study. It may be our next discussion in our live chat, our daily live chat on research project writing. But take note, delimitation and limitation are two different things. So to answer the question, Doctor, are these two concepts, delimitation and limitation, the same thing? I am saying no. And that answers the second thing I want to talk about here on this live chat. Okay? Now, let's go to the third thing. The third thing I want to say in this live stream is this. What then is delimitation of the study? Delimitation of the study as a subtopic found in your chapter 1 talks about what areas your work as a research would cover and what areas will it not cover. Okay? So it is under delimitation of the study you tell us in your research project that your study will talk about this, will talk about that, and may not talk about this or that. So what aspect of your research project tells us this? It is your delimitation of the study. Okay? Now, it is different from limitation, and in our video on limitation, please join us in our live chat to know what limitation is all about. I'm not going to be telling you that in this video, but take note, delimitation is different from limitation of the study. And delimitation talks about those areas your work is expected to cover and the areas it is not expected to cover. So right there in your delimitation, you tell us your work will cover A, B, C, but will not cover D, E, F, and so on. Okay? Now, that brings me to the fourth thing I want to say. What does delimitation do for you aside the basic thing of guiding your would-be readers on what to expect and what not to expect from your work? As a student preparing for a research project defense, it is your delimitation that protects you in the course of the defense process from questions like questions that are not related to your work. It is the delimitation of the study put in your work that protects you against questions that may be coming from a panel member as to what is not expected from your work. Now, if for instance you had told us in your delimitation of the study that your focus on areas A, B, and C. But a panel member in the course of your defense demands to know something that is outside the region or the scope of your work, talking about areas D, E, F, and so on. It is proper, and it will not be considered as an insult, neither would it be considered as a disregard to whoever asks that question, whatsoever the status of that person is. It will not be considered as disregard or an insult when you tell the person or refer the person to the delimitation of your study. So what I'm saying in essence as the fourth thing you should learn from this video is that delimitation protects you. And where does it protect you? It protects you in the defense of your work before a panel. So it is a reference to your delimitation that tells the person who asked that question that is outside what you defined in your delimitation that your work only focused on this area, and that area, and did not focus on this area, and that area for a particular reason. So in that sense, delimitation incorporated into your work protects you as a student about to defend that research project. Okay, so you take note of that fourth thing. Now the fifth and final thing I'm going to be telling you in this video about delimitation is this. In the course of writing your delimitation, you must also know that you can give it a structure. Okay, now you can give your delimitation a structure in the sense of putting cohesion into the paragraphs that will make up the delimitation, and putting cohesion into the sentences that will make each paragraph of what you would call your delimitation. So take note of these things. Number one, delimitation is found in the chapter 1, the introductory chapter of your work. Number one. Number two, delimitation is different from limitation of your study. And that brings me to number three. Why is delimitation different from limitation? I'm going to talk about why that is so as it concerns delimitation. The reason why that is so brings me to number three. Delimitation talks about the scope of your work. So another name for delimitation is scope of your study. And what that means is, it is under delimitation we expect you, the research student, to tell us that my work will focus on areas A, B, and C, but will not focus on areas C and D, E, F, and so on. And in doing that, it is proper for you to tell us, in addition to telling us those areas it will focus on and those areas it will not focus on, it is proper for you to tell us why you would want to focus on those areas and not the other areas you've excluded. Now, number four, I am saying delimitation is relevant and useful to you, the student, as well as those reading your work, or those that will be reading your work, because it protects you against questions outside the area you have focused on in your work, especially in a defense panel. So if in a defense panel you are asked a question outside the area your work has focused on, you have every right to tell whoever asks that question to refer such a person to the delimitation in your work, because doing that will make the person know. If the person never knew, it will make the person know that, oh, the question I have just asked is outside the scope of this student's work, okay, with reasons specified therein. Now, number five, delimitation must follow a structure in the write-up. There must be cohesion in between paragraphs that make up the delimitation of your study, and there must be cohesion within paragraph, meaning that there must be logical flow from sentence to sentence within paragraph, using words that show cohesion, like however, to, therefore, and so. You understand me? So there must be words that show cohesion within paragraph, and there must be words that show cohesion between paragraphs, linking paragraphs that make up your delimitation of the study. Okay, now if you do these things I have said, you will be able to write a proper delimitation of the study. Now take note of number 2, that delimitation and limitation are two different things, because in number 3, delimitation talks about the scope of your study. In other words, your delimitation can be called your scope of the study, and it is only expected to talk about areas your work will cover and areas it will not cover, with reasons given by you as to why it will not cover those areas. Thank you very much for being a part of this live video. Thank you for watching the video. Subsequently, I will see you in the next video on research project writing here on GER Hub Research Project Writing classes. Okay, thank you very much. Until next time when we meet again, stay tuned.